Vladimir Kramnik, former world chess champion, for the last several months has been leading a public campaign against cheating in online chess. Many of his comments have been quite radical and made many people angry, including top grandmasters such as Hikaru Nakamura.
Kramnik can go f*** himself.
Judging by the comments I've read online, some people believe that Kramnik has gone insane and too paranoid. However, when I asked many top GMs about it on my podcast, they say that Kramnik is right about many things.
Kramnik, I believe it too harsh and doesn't mince words and so on, but still there is a huge problem of cheating.
Kramnik says, I think that he's right on many things.
So, over the last month, I've watched dozens of videos with Kramnik to dig into this. I speak both English and Russian, so I had the opportunity to watch his solo videos, streams and interviews in both languages. Let me tell you that some of the information has really changed my mind and my attitude to the problem of cheating, although I do not agree with him on many points. My head is spinning with all this information, so let me just share all this with you so that you don't have to waste your life on researching this topic. Even if you are new to this topic, even if you are not new to this topic, if you watched some content featuring Kramnik, there will definitely be some things in this video that are new to you. I will illustrate my speech with some interesting positions from recent online games. Here's the first one. Kramnik is playing black. The player with the white pieces is called José Eduardo Martínez Alcántara from Peru, but most people know him as Jaspam, online blitz legend, one of the highest rated players on chess.com. In a recent title Tuesday, Kramnik made just one move against Jaspam and resigned after one e4, e6, d4. This reminds me of the time Magnus Carlsen resigned in the same manner against Hans Niemann.
Magnus goes knight f6, c4. What?
Which many people interpreted as Magnus showing he suspects Hans of cheating. Why did he do it? Because, as Kramnik himself said, from now on he is going to resign against certain players who are showing statistically unusual performances online in Title Tuesday tournaments. He says he has spent countless hours analyzing the data with some mathematicians and statisticians and came to the conclusion that results of some players are weird and he cannot explain them. This does not mean he necessarily thinks all those guys are cheaters, just that they should be investigated further. From what I understand, chess.com is not against such investigations in principle. For example, they've recently sent a camera crew to the house of Jaspam, José Martínez Alcántara, and they filmed him while he was playing a Title Tuesday tournament under supervision. In that Title Tuesday, Jaspam took the second place, which is a great result. Many would think that this could be interpreted as proof that Jaspam is a 100% legit elite-level blitz player. But Kramnik says that on that day, Jaspam was playing with a much lower accuracy than usual and that he just got lucky, that he kept blundering and that he didn't show his usual impeccable technique. For example, in this position, playing black against Grandmaster Sugirev, Jaspam moved his queen to f6, leaving his rook on b4 without any protection. Thankfully for him, his opponent missed this as well, probably due to the time trouble. Later, Jaspam managed to win that game. I can see the point of both sides here. On the one hand, I've looked at the games myself, and it does seem that Jaspam was not in his top form on that particular day. I could blunder the rook like that in time trouble, but I'm not 3000 rated, you know. But that could be explained by the stress of being under supervision. Imagine a situation where you are suspected of cheating and a whole camera crew supervises you. Anyone would be nervous. On the other hand, if a person plays under supervision just one time, it cannot be final proof that this person has never cheated. I think this is obvious. This is why they have regular doping tests, probes in most types of sports. And I'm sure that chess will not be an exception. Chess.com, FIDE, and all other chess bodies will have to adopt stricter anti-cheating measures. Because nowadays, it's very easy to cheat online, and if you are a relatively strong GM, you only need to look at the computer lines a couple of times per game to play on the level of Magnus Carlsen. But let's look at the statistics Kramnik is telling everyone about. In his interviews and streams, in both Russian and English, he provided some numbers that really made me reconsider some things. One of the players who often wins prize money in Title Tuesday tournaments, but who does not play much over the board and has not such a high FIDE Blitz rating, has quite strange results in Title Tuesdays against top GMs, Kramnik says. Kramnik divided those GMs in two groups, two categories, which he called strong touchables and strong untouchables. Strong untouchables are Carlsen, Nakamura, and MVL, Maxim Vachier-Lagrave, former World Blitz champion. But why those three? Because, according to Kramnik, people are afraid to cheat against these guys, especially against Magnus and Hikaru. I've heard similar things about this from many other top GMs. If Magnus or Hikaru report a person for cheating, Chess.com is very likely to ban such a person. It may be unfair, but these guys have a formidable reputation, and they are blitz geniuses, and they feel very well when something is strange, when moves are unhuman, so to say. So, this is the strong untouchables group. Kramnik grouped other top super GMs, rated over 2700 and very strong in offline blitz. They are grouped in another group, which he called strong touchables. They include Wesley So, Fabiano Caruana, Jan Nepomniachtchi, Daniil Dubov, Duda, Kramnik, and Grishuk. All those guys are legends. Most of them have been on the pedestal in World Blitz Championship. Grishuk, for example, has won it 3 times. Dubov was second just this year. Duda was second in 2021. Nepo and Fabi are currently top 5, top 7 in the World OTB Blitz ratings. So it would be safe to say that both groups are very strong. Carlsen and Nakamura are probably a bit stronger than the rest. They are, without a doubt, 2 best blitz players in the world, but the difference is not astronomical, is not huge. So, Kramnik found out that this one person, whom he researched, has played over the last year 31 games against the strong untouchables and 28 games against strong touchables. Similar amount. Guess how many points this person scored against Group 1 and Group 2? If I had to guess, I'd guess that probably this person would score a bit less against Magnus, Hikaru, and MVL than against others. Maybe like 50% less. But the results were shocking. This person scored 19 wins, 6 losses, and 6 draws against the strong touchables. A very impressive result. 22 out of 31 points, 70%. But against Carlsen, Nakamura, and MVL during the same period, in the same events, with the same time control, this person scored just 3 wins, 22 losses, and 3 draws. 4.5 out of 28 points, 16% of points. Quite unusual, right? Of course, these results can be explained in many ways, not just by cheating. It could be that these 3 guys, Carlsen, Hikaru, and MVL, they're just especially tough opponents for this person. Maybe because of their style, maybe it's just the psychology, maybe he or she is too afraid, too cautious when they play against each other. Or it's just the case of uncomfortable opponents. For example, Alexei Shirov was a top 2 player in the world for some time, but against Garry Kasparov, he had a miserable record, 0 wins, 16 losses, and 15 draws. He just couldn't play his best against Kasparov, like I cannot say these words. Maybe this is the explanation here as well. And then Kramnik tried analyzing his own online games from Title Tuesdays against 2 different groups of people. He divided his opponents in 2 groups. The first one, players established offline, as well as online, like Magnus, Hikaru, Nepo, Fabi, Dubov, MVL, Grishuk, and a couple more. And the second group was people with top ratings on chess.com who often win Title Tuesdays, but who do not have big wins in over-the-board blitz. Some of them just never play offline blitz because they are streamers, they like to play from home, have an online career, and this is fine, of course, they have the right to do so. These people include Jaspam, Wonderful Time, Tuan Min Le, and some others. Last year, Kramnik played 23 games against Group 1, the group of established players offline and online, and 24 games against Group 2, the group of online specialists. And of course, you can say that people with more experience online can perform a bit better with a mouse than with the board. But most GMs say that this is relevant for games without time increment. 3 minutes blitz without increment, whereas in Title Tuesdays, people play 3+1, 3 minutes plus 1 second added after each move. So it's much more difficult to flag other people, and here there is no big difference between online and offline. Maybe a tiny difference, but not a huge one. So it's similar game, a very similar one. So how much did Kramnik score against the first group, the one that includes just the established top GMs? Out of 23 games, he scored 10.5 points, 45%. You know, he's still very strong, so even against the best of the best, he's competing on equal terms. He's won Title Tuesday and has many times been in top 10, top 5, even now when he's retired. He's a chess legend, after all, and he's the only man who defeated Kasparov in a match. This counts for something. So, how many points do you think Kramnik scored against the second group, online specialists? He scored just 3 points out of 24, 2 wins, 2 draws, and 20 losses. Crazy, that's just 12%. Again, this could be explained in many ways. For example, Kramnik has a record of 0 wins and 5 losses against Jaspem, now 6 losses, 5 losses before his recent resignation on the second move. I think it's possible that it's because Kramnik may suspect that Jaspem could be playing unfair, and because of this, Kramnik plays worse than he would be playing otherwise. Maybe he's too tense, maybe he doesn't believe he can win, or something like that. Some GMs told me in private conversations that it's what happens when you think you are playing a computer. You play in a worse way. Maybe it's why Magnus lost to Hans Niemann in Classical in St. Louis in his famous game, after which the cheating scandal started. Magnus was not himself on that day. Maybe that's the reason with Kramnik as well. I don't know. But there is another explanation, that someone from this group of people who only perform well online may be cheating. Of course, there is no proof, and maybe everyone is innocent. I hope so. But there is a possibility that someone is not playing fair. After all, history of sports shows that even some of the greatest sportsmen ever cheated. Arnold Schwarzenegger admitted to taking steroids. Lance Armstrong, the GOAT in cycling, he was found guilty of using doping, and there are many other cases in many sports. Are chess players more ethical than cyclists and bodybuilders? I hope so, but probably there are some people who succumb to the temptation, especially when it's so easy to cheat, and there are not many cheating detection methods, and they are not too effective. So does this mean that there are cheaters at the top of chess.com leaderboard? Not necessarily. But I think that the statistics that Kramnik uncovered at least warrants some additional measures by chess.com. And I'm glad that the platform is starting to take action. Supervising Jaspem was a great idea, but I think it would be great if they started doing that on a regular basis with more top players, not just him. It's like doping probes in other sports. Everyone should undergo them every once in a while. There's money at stake, and there's integrity of the game at stake. After all, as Magnus Carlsen himself said, cheating is an existential problem for chess. We must preserve our game. I believe that some comments of Kramnik are too radical. I believe he's too emotional sometimes. He may be too paranoid sometimes, but it doesn't matter. In principle, he's right that we have to do more to combat cheating. He's trying to do whatever he can to save chess, and I respect him for that. Please write a comment if you want me to record a podcast episode with Kramnik. We have some mutual acquaintances, and I'm sure it's going to be a great conversation. And please write in the comments what you think about the cheating scandal. See you.